Hey guys, how are you? Wendy Kim here of Your Dream Realized Coaching, and I wanted to talk to you more about my story and how I got here. I realize that some of you probably don't know my story, and sometimes I can assume that people do, but I'm sure a lot of you don't know how I got here. And so that's why I decided to share about my financial implosion. And it all started several years ago, and I remember I was sitting in my dark living room, completely dark. It was 1 a.m. I had a bright computer screen in front of me, and I was like, this can't be happening. I was looking at my Excel spreadsheet. I was like, are the columns misaligned? Like, is Excel not calculating correctly? What is going on here? My throat was tight, my shoulders were tight, I had knots in my stomach. And once again, I had been in this situation many times. We were spending way more than we had brought in at that month. And I felt so much guilt, shame, and incompetence because I was making a six-figure salary. Like how could I be in this situation where I was overspending by so much even though we made good money? And then the thoughts of like, what if people knew? Like, what would they think of me? The shame, the guilt. I mean, even just like talking about it now, I can feel those feelings in my chest, that tightness in my chest. So I had been living like that really for a long time, and hardly anyone knew, like no one really knew except my husband about the detail of our financial situation. And I literally was like, what are we going to do over the next couple of months? If we continue like this, we're going to have to give up our house. Are we going to have to move in with my mom? All the while, I was working a great job at a Fortune 500 company making good money. So again, there was incredible shame over this. And that night I was just like, I can't go on like this. I can't do this. And so the next day I called one of my really good friends, and she had just taken a personal finance course. Hey, love you. Yeah, she had just taken a personal finance course, and it had really helped her out. And I was like, I'm desperate. I need to do something. I am done. I am completely done. I don't even like care at this point what people think of me. I just need to change my life, and I don't know how this is going to happen, but something needs to radically change. And so I signed up for the course, and I started to learn the skills of financial literacy and money management. And it's crazy because I had a degree in economics from Georgetown, but I did not know how to manage money. I had never learned that from my parents, and I certainly hadn't learned that in school. And these were basic skills on how like credit cards work and how really bad they are, and how to use cash, different things that I had never been taught. And that totally, like debt, I had always thought, oh, debt's fine, like debt, car payments, what's the big deal? And I started to really learn, no, actually these things are the reason that people stay poor or stay middle class versus actually building wealth. And so that really blew my mind. And at the same time, I started to realize there was a deep correlation between my net worth and my self worth. I had been living, keeping up with the Joneses for my whole life. I mean, that's what I was taught as a child. Like, you need to have a nice bag, you need to have a nice car, you need to go to a nice school. And it was all about what other people thought and making people believe that you were wealthy and had power. And yes, there is a correlation. And I found myself in a situation where I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I do not care if I drive a car that's not that great. But if it's paid for, great. Like, that will make me happy. I started to just not care what people thought of me and started to think about, well, what do I want? What makes me happy? What makes me happy is being able to have more financial freedom, to not have debt, to be able to go to the beach with my kids instead of spending $600 to go to Disneyland for the weekend. So I went through this whole like spiritual transformation, and it was intense. And then so we had been in the red probably about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And we're now in a situation where we were, because of this transformation, saving $1,000 to $1,500 a month consistently. And I started to ask myself, okay, how had I gotten here? Why had I gotten here? And one of the big reasons was my work. I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't passionate about the work I was doing. And I was medicating and I was numbing. And so I want to just leave you guys with that because I don't want this video to be an hour long. So I'm going to continue my story tomorrow about how I ended up getting into this business and starting my own business, which has been amazing and tough, but amazing nonetheless. So please tune in tomorrow at noon, where I'll be talking about how the second part of my journey, which is how I went into starting my own business. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Damien. It was great seeing you, and thank you for your comments. Love you. Bye.